We have a segment on this show where we talk about our guest's hometown. And today we are joined, as I mentioned at the top of the program, Blake Hamilton comes to us from Rocket City, USA, a.k.a. Hunts Vegas, a.k.a. Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk Northern Alabama. I looked this up because I didn't know anything about Huntsville. So we've got Birmingham, famously. Huntsville was originally named Twickenham.
Really?
So the guy who founded it was a guy named Leroy Pope, who had, I guess, become convinced, though there's no proof of this, that he was related to the Enlightenment poet Alexander Pope, and that was where he was from, up in Middlesex in England. He was from Twickenham, so that's why it was called that. But then after the War of 1812, people were like, "Fuck the British!" So they renamed it Huntsville after John Hunt, who was the guy who owned the land next to him. That's where it got its name, and I didn't know any of that. But
he also has a house downtown called the Spite House.
Yes, I did read about that.
Spite? Yeah, so if you go downtown, there's a lot of pretty old buildings, and I guess it might have been John Hunt, this neighbor of his that he didn't like, had a house with like a better view than him.
Yeah.
So he built his house to obstruct this guy's view of like the mountains.
Yeah,
so it's called the Spite House. But
I think he built a house up on a hill and was just like,
so they got the crazy in there early. You know, it just grew from there.
There's a long grand history of spite houses. It's one of my favorite things. It happened all the time in San Francisco. It happens today.
Yeah.
Where some old lady refuses to sell her house and they build a condo in the shape of a fucking U just around it to be like, fuck you. So they have no window anymore.
Yep.
I was actually on an episode of the Cracked podcast back in the day with Alex Schmidt. Shout out to Alex, talking about spite houses. I don't know if they nuked that or not when they fired everybody at Cracked, but it might still exist somewhere out there.
You gotta find that shit.
That was a good one. Yeah, and also I should mention in 2021, Huntsville officially became Alabama's largest city.
Did that finally happen?
Yeah, man.
Okay, because my whole childhood they were like, we're right on the cusp. We're going to overtake Birmingham.
So they got the census data back from 2020, and it turns out Birmingham still has the largest metro area, but Huntsville is itself, the city is
just more populated.
Yep.
Wow.
It's because of the pandemic and because they keep annexing parts of like Madison and the county, which is like a whole other ball of wax, just people mad about that. But no, it's changed drastically over the last 10 years. It's very different.
I think Huntsville is like, at least I can gather, like for people who are like moving from like here or like like if they're going to move to Alabama, I still think they have like a little bit of like hesitance towards Birmingham, just because
all the news clips, the
news clips, the 50s, all that stuff.
So I think American history class.
But Huntsville is like renowned as being like, it's like smart people live there, and it's nice, and
NASA,
NASA, and Werner von Braun, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
what's that?
Everyone there can read.
Everyone there can read.
Yeah.
No, I know for a while. I don't know if this is still true. It had like the highest concentration of PhDs like anywhere in the country. Like I'm very proud to be from there. It's a very interesting place.
Right.
But that's definitely, and you still see that. You see people that move there and they're like, oh, this is great. I can build this big house for like no money. And then
the government has agreed to not look into my past as a Nazi, or at least that was
the
the 50s.
And that's what I was going to try to segue to is, that's sort of the shadow cast over the whole area is all the government stuff going on. And
Redstone Arsenal is there.
I mean, one of my like most vivid childhood memories is on 9/11. We all got a half day that day. And my school was right by one of the gates that went into Redstone Arsenal, which is the big like military installation there.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget like seeing all the cars like streaming out of there on 9/11 because of course that's what Afghanistan wants. They want to come to North Alabama, and nuke our.
They're going to hit the arsenal.
I think
destroy the economy of the second largest town in the state.
Yeah,
my friend Aaron Weber, he's from Alabama too. He has a joke about that where he was like the next in Montgomery. He's from Montgomery. And he was like, everyone's just like, dude, we're like next, dude. We're like everyone was like legit concerned. There was like New York, Montgomery, Alabama was the next thing.
Oh yeah.
So I looked into some current headlines. Not a whole lot happening in Huntsville except this past weekend did have a celebrity in town. I'll just read the headline here. Moms for Liberty library events with Kirk Cameron and Riley Gaines draws protests. So
good.
Shout out to the Huntsville TSA for just surrounding this fucking library full of fascist assholes.
Hell yeah.
So that was cool. But Kirk Cameron was in town. So that was a big deal. They attempted to cancel the event because there was going to be too many people there. And then they had to uncancel it. And then it went down. And so that's big fun happening in
It seems like one of the few places in the state where you can really draw a lot of like protesters. Like I'm not sure. I mean, I hope I'm wrong about that, but yeah, it's
It's of all the places you could try to pull that shit in Alabama, that's probably not the best. But let's get to the real headlines because Huntsville is also the home of one of my absolute favorite Facebook groups, and that is, of course, Huntsville Confessions. Do you know about Huntsville Confessions?
Yes, I have. I have perused it. No, my city has some of the craziest social media activity because it's kind of like LA. You have all these people from different areas just kind of thrown into this one place where there's not a lot going on.
And probably nuclear waste leaking into the water table.
Yeah, who knows what else? But no, it's all that and like the next door stuff is like wild, man. Like,
oh God, yeah. So I just wanted to share a few of these Huntsville confessions. So these are sent in anonymously to this Facebook group. So let's just some of these people are asking for advice. So maybe we can help them out. This first one. How do you handle it when people steal shit from your family when someone dies? We had a family member die a couple of years ago, and our other family member went into the house while we were at the funeral and stole a bunch of stuff and sold it. I was like, that is dirty.
wow.
Tell you what, everyone was distracted.
Yeah. Hey,
It's kind of brilliant too.
God hates a vacuum,
Everyone's at a mandatory event.
Yeah. You know where everybody's eyes are going to be? Not on the jewelry box.
That's right.
So they stole things like jewelry and valuable items that would have normally went to the family members' kids. Am I supposed to act like that's fine and just shrug it off? Everybody else seems to have, but I can't stand it. Advice is appreciated.
Got to secure your bag, man. That's my advice.
I know.
That's my only advice.
Probably saw us coming. That boy wasn't right. He ain't been right for a long time. And,
it seems like that's what the rest of the family is saying, but this person is clearly like, no. Fuck that. They got to die. They're pissed.
Sounds like a job for Judge Judy to me.
Yeah.
It's getting small claims score. Come on.
Somebody was telling me that they had a older relative that anytime they came over, they would make them walk around the house with a Sharpie and write their name on things.
No, what?
Forgot who told me this, but they had like a great aunt who was just like, now I want you to write your name on all the stuff you want, so when I'm dead.
Okay, yeah. that
with them alive in the room, they were going around and writing their initials on things they wanted. Like sticking stickers on the bottom of shit.
This is the kind of injustice only a clown could avenge.
There it is.
Yeah, send in the clowns.
No, that's like the Southern grandma equivalent of like faking your own death and watching the funeral. It's like, I'm going to see what they claim and how much they really value me and my possession. Like that is a pretty common thing. Like both my grandmas have done that at some point.
I think the real answer is small claims court.
Yep.
That's true.
But the keeping it real answer is beat up your
I was
fucking
gonna say beat
fentanyl
down.
addict cousin.
Yeah.
Fentanyl beatdown.
Show up at Leroy's house and be like, all right, hand it over.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your ass.
Those
nothing-
are my jewelry to pawn for fentanyl, motherfucker.
Ain't no detox like a beatdown detox.
You gotta lure them to the Montgomery River walk first, and then then we're spring the trap.
This next one here, also from Huntsville Confessions. Poor old blank, name redacted, still eating up that hamburger helper while old boy, yes, I call him old boy because he'll be 52 soon, he's out chasing them girls on them dating apps saying he's still 45.
The sweet spot age on the dating apps, 45.
Honey, lives are forever. You might need to make sure you're not making a fool of yourself. So that one's not real advice. It's just, a subtweet, as they say, or a sub-X.
Damn, if you're still eating hamburger helper in 2023, there's an issue. There's some major issues in the home.
Cook some beef on a skillet, man.
Yeah, I know. Do anything else. You don't have to put powder in every one of your meals.
Yeah.
I know the box comes with the powder, but you don't need that.
And then this last one here, this is just a hell of a tale. You'll love to hear it. So I was at this store asking an employee if they can help me find a product that I had a screenshot of. And while I was showing the employee the screenshot on the phone, she tried to scroll down on the screen because she thought it was a website and not a screenshot. Well, my dumb self forgets to exit out of a titty gallery I was looking at.
Yeah.
Which, what a fucking horrible thing to say. It was a titty gallery. And so I am just imagining.
Disembodied titties,
yeah. It's no
Very
faces.
Silence of the Lambs.
I mean, she has
Shooting
like
gallery, as I call
a
it.
separate folder for that in his picture.
It's just all lefts.
Amazing she was able to get any traction on that phone screen.
So many data security issues down there. Man. Like that's half of all problems there.
Also, this is definitely this guy did this on purpose, right?
Uh-oh.
You
What's
wanna,
that?
You want to join the gallery, sweetheart? I got a place in L6. So I forgot to exit out of the titty gallery I was looking at. And when I open my browser to go to the store's website, my titty gallery pops up and the employee is stunned for a second. Embarrassing.
Oh, I accidentally tried to fix the porn and I showed her more porn. Whoopsie.
If I had
It's like a Three Stooges episode.
Whoopsies.
One time when I lived with my grandma, we left and we came back, and my grandpa was watching porn, and he was trying to change the channel, but he was just turning it up. He was freaking out because he couldn't figure out how to change it. It was just getting louder. And louder.
So as your grandma was getting for, I was like, oh yeah, oh my god, that's amazing.
So that's the real news that's happening in Huntsville. But let's talk about Blake Hamilton's Huntsville.
Yes. It's a dark place.
So first question, what was the incident for you?
Yeah, so in 1998, in my neighborhood, we had a guy chop up his family with an axe.
Holy fuck! Oh my god, that is an
Incident is an understatement.
Yeah.
So didn't
And
take
where
long
was
to answer that
where
question.
was the mayor when this
Exactly
happened?
right. That's what I want to know. But
Ride up on horseback and go, my god,
I've never seen such. Yeah, no, it's
depravity. Not
it
just
was-
the clown fuck. Mercy curve. Oh, sorry.
so I know clowns in Huntsville anymore.
Yeah.
No, that was probably the main thing that happened. I
bet
kind of
that's been on some TV, and they made some episodes of some TV shows of true crime about that shit. I guarantee.
Yeah, I've watched one or two, and then this is before I was really like a horror movie fan. But I remember watching the movie Halloween for the first time and being like, "There's something familiar about like what's going on with this." But no, that was pretty legendary.
Wow,
And then
Jeffrey Franklin was the guy's name, and according to shout out to the good folks at WHNT and my friend Allison who works there. This is their headline from last year. Jeffrey Franklin denied parole again 24 years after the brutal attack on his parents and siblings. Woo.
Jeez, how long ago did this? 24 years ago. So this was the early 2000s.
98, I think, is when it happened.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then what's even funnier is if you, well, not really funny, but it's
No,
it tells you a lot about Alabama. Like I always tell people, like culturally, we're always about like 10 years behind.
Right.
And when you look at like stories from the time about this, they say satanic panic is blamed for murder. So it's
Wow.
like, that ended like 15 years ago. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Devil worship stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, it was a sledgehammer and a hatchet.
Yep. 2 weapons.
Fuck.
He was a
Lordy.
dual wielding guy.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah, pretty bad.
I love that first question now, the incident, because last week it was just somebody did something funny at my school.
Yeah.
And then this week.
This is approaching an event.
Yeah.
It's pretty regional, I would say, not just local, but
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Question 2, local legend.
yeah. So I don't know why all my answers on this were so like just bad and graphic, but we had a guy, Chester the Molester.
It's like not Werner von Braun.
He's the real mascot for the town. But yeah, we got this guy. Apparently, it was almost like was the guy in Wisconsin? They did the Netflix series on.
Oh, Dahmer?
No, the
Ed Gein?
Stephen Avery.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like a Stephen Avery
There's a lot of
situation.
psychos in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Well, he was the guy who was falsely accused for murder, right?
it's kind of an open question.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
he's in jail for it.
I've only seen season 1, so
Yeah, no, that's a much more rosy season than the second one. But
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, it's kind of a similar thing. This guy had been like assaulting women like back in the 70s. But
Oh,
yeah, they
Jesus.
told us like always to watch out for Chester the Molester. Like for some reason, it went from women to like children by the
he's
time
like-
I was a kid.
He's like Cropsy. He's like the
Yeah,
boogeyman.
exactly. exactly.
Yeah.
But a
Holy shit.
little more lighthearted was in the early days of YouTube. We had a couple of like viral YouTube stars.
Oh, I hope you're about to talk about who I think you're about to talk
Well,
about.
there's
'cause
two.
I've got it pulled up here.
Oh, you got it?
I
Okay.
think.
I know that it's going to be one of these. So the most popular one was, of course,
hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here. You don't have to come and confess. We're looking for you. We gon' find you. We gon' find you so you can run and tell that. Run and tell that. Run and tell that. Homeboy, homeboy.
Antoine Dodson,
Yeah.
legend.
for years we were replaying this thing.
Of course.
And,
Oh yeah.
I think he got a bunch of money somehow. Like he got some kind of like endorsement or like a TV show or whatever, and then it blew it immediately. But the other one, which you might
are
be
you telling me
thinking of-
there's no substance behind the guy
I'm
who got
sorry.
famous off a one sentence interview?
I'm sorry. But the other one, which you might be thinking of, is the strutting that ass
Strutting
guy. There you
that
go.
ass. This dude is fucking awesome.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Do you guys know the legend of strutting that ass?
No.
Let's give it a watch. See.
Who was walking there? But who else?
I know how bad they are. Why don't they just walk the gutters? It ain't a far walk. It's just 38 miles.
It's like 2 hours by car.
Why don't you walk the gutters?
Did you walk gutters before?
I'll walk. Yeah, I can walk the gutters. Why don't you walk the gutters?
I don't need to walk gutters.
Well, shit, no, you don't. You're gonna put everybody else walking the gutters. Why don't you just walk the gutters?
All right, I'll walk gutters.
Well, all right, let's go.
All right, hang on. Let me do this one time.
Man, let's go walking.
Yeah, so for context, the guy's trying to do a news report, and a very intoxicated man wanders up and is instructing him to walk to Gunnersville, which is still North Alabama, but basically the other side of the fucking state. And dude's losing it.
How about strutting that ass? You'll be so goddamn fucking tired. The time you get to New Hope, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be so goddamn fucking tired by the time you get to New Hope that you won't be strutting that ass.
This man is a sex worker.
What's got you so mad today?
Me?
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's great that he just is egging him on. He's like, "What got you so mad today?"
Everybody wants to run. Everybody wants to run. That's good. Run here at the Gunnersville. I'll walk. I'll be right behind them and see how far they can run.
This guy's on crack.
It's a
for sure.
chauvinistic pig attitude that you're gonna do something because you work at the Arsenal and you got a fucking Mercedes Benz and you ain't gotta walk every day, so you're gonna get out and strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass. When you start walking, my friend, and you get 10 and 15 miles on the highway, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be half dead by the time you get there. So it's a chauvinistic pig attitude that Clinton's got.
Bring it back to Clinton.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, he's got his vocabulary word, chauvinistic pig, for the week.
Strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass. And when you walk about 15 or 20 miles, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be so fucking tired, you won't be hard to hold that ass up. Strutting that ass.
Oh man, this guy's a
You won't be strutting
superstar.
that ass when
Yeah, so
That's my dad.
I was gonna say because I've actually wanted to talk about this for a long time,
Oh,
so
good.
it's perfect that
Good.
you brought this up because I was really trying to figure out who this dude was, and they actually brought that reporter back for like the 20th anniversary of this, and they were like, yeah, we don't really know who that guy was.
Didn't get a name or anything.
No one got a name. Like he was literally doing a news broadcast. He's standing in front of City Hall or some shit, just been talking about some boring meeting, and then this guy, a fucking superstar, just emerges from the fog like David Bowie or some shit. It's just out there, fully formed artist, strutting that ass. But the point he's making, I like it because he's basically, I think he was mad about them installing like walking paths or something, and he's just like, the walking paths are just for people who are pretending to exercise, and that he's a man who actually has to walk to Gunnersville.
That's very generous of you to discern a meaning behind what he was talking about.
I agree with that as someone who has to walk a lot.
Right.
Hiking is for privileged people.
That's what he's saying.
If you have the privilege to go hike around, that means you don't have to walk a lot of places.
Yeah. When you actually have to walk, you will not be strutting that ass.
No.
You will be just simply using it the utilitarian function of walking.
You'll be shuffling that ass along.
Yeah, and this predates
dragging that ass even.
And this predates Instagram too, which now
full of these videos.
Well, no. I mean, what his main complaint, what he's talking about, is people doing performative hikes, just to get a good selfie up on Runyon Canyon. They're just strutting that ass.
So there's people out there that are just mad at others exercising. Is that
yes.
what you're saying?
Yeah,
Like,
basically. I think
don't improve yourself. I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Forced into exercise.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And toothless.
Do you know how much harder it is when you're drunk?
Man, yeah. So anyway, shout out to that man who's certainly passed away by now, but
going strong. He's
man.
the mayor.
And
Yeah.
I'm so happy because, like you were saying with like the Antoine Dodson thing,
Yeah.
mass media got a hold of him and chewed him up and spit him out. This guy's a mystery still, you know. And I'm a research fiend. I love trying to find people like this, and there's nothing, not a goddamn thing.
I don't know how far down the Winnebago manhole you'd have to go to find it.
It'd be
You know what I mean?
impossible.
I bet like just an obituary. Like he's certainly dead. Like
If that. I mean, we don't know where he's from. He might have just been wandering through town.
I don't know. I bet my mom could figure out who he is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Do you think
my
so?
mom knows like everybody in Huntsville,
Okay.
so she could probably figure.
Yeah.
it out.
My parents lived in Huntsville for 8 years. Maybe they know the strut. That
Okay,
ass
well,
guy.
yeah. Let's shoot this video out to y'all's folks and see what happens. Question 3: worst bar.
Got to be the Thirsty Turtle.
Okay,
That's
I don't even know that one.
Oh,
I think I did a show at the Thirsty Turtle
You
once.
might have.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. It's a perfect stand-up venue, but that's like where all the like restaurant scumbags went after work. And
Oh God,
Yeah.
that bar. Yeah,
Yeah, I took a break,
I've never been to the Thirsty Turtle, but
it's probably
as soon as
still
you
there,
said that,
yeah.
I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it's the classic. You all go blow all your tips, after the show and whatever. But yeah, I just remember
it's halftime in this town where I'm from.
But there's something about a place like that where you just got no prospects and nothing else going on in your life. I feel
Right.
very lucky that I got to spend time there.
Okay, number 4: best local food.
Yeah, so Huntsville's claim to fame is if there's like lately the big like culinary thing from Alabama that's kind of spread is the white sauce,
Sure.
the barbecue white sauce,
Right.
supposedly invented at Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue on Governor's Drive in Huntsville.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
it's got to be true because who else would claim that?
Yeah,
It's just
well,
like
I think
it's pretty good. It tastes good, but it looks disgusting. That's all. I'm
Just
trying to say.
mayonnaise, right?
It's like horseradish and mayo, and I think like probably pickle juice or something.
It's mayo, it's horseradish, it's apple cider vinegar, it's sugar, it's cayenne, and it's black pepper.
I was gonna say because
Yeah.
my man makes them
All the time.
He makes
He
white
knows.
sauce, and I still have a container of it. In
Oh,
my
nice.
fridge. I think it's gone bad now at this point because that's like a year ago.
Yeah, throw that out. Definitely throw that out. Yeah.
Just deep freeze it,
Bob Gibson's closes way too early. I will say that.
Yeah.
Every time I ever do stand up there, I try to pop in and it's like 7:30, and they're like, "Yeah, we're closed." I'm like, "Fuck." So anyway,
Yeah, especially during COVID. After COVID, like everywhere there closes at like 7.
Yeah,
it's hard
yeah.
to get in there.
yeah. I head up that Crystal though. That's always a.
Oh yeah.
That's always around.
Oh, I should mention. That's another question. Sorry, go ahead. This next question.
Next question, number 5: local ghosts or monsters.
Yeah, so if you're from Huntsville, there's a thing you do in all the schools there where you go to the Maple Hill Cemetery, which is like where all the ex-governors and Confederate soldiers are buried.
Yeah.
And one thing, so there was a governor's daughter named Sally Carter who died, I think, of like tuberculosis. And the thing that everybody does is they go up to her mausoleum and you're supposed to like knock and like whisper through the door and like listen to hear like her ghost. So we like to instill like, fear of ghosts like early on because
Sure.
literally every single school child in the city has to do this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's our big ghost is a dead governor's daughter. It's actually not that scary.
Okay. What does she supposedly say if you knock on
I don't
the
think
door?
she even did anything. I think she's
Oh,
just
okay.
supposed to whisper at you, and that's about it. Yeah.
You're being priced out of town.
Gentrifying this whole neighborhood.
Yeah. And then last question: favorite thing that's not there anymore.
Yeah, so I've started following, much like Rivers, I'm very into like local history, and I follow all these local pages from town. And there was an infamous nightclub called the Plush Horse. Yeah, great name, right?
What a name! Yeah,
Already love it. Already love it.
But I was a horse on that plush, man. But yeah, it was up near like the country club, so it was kind of like the fancy part of town in the 70s and the 80s, and it was actually really great. They had people like like Gladys Knight would play there, and like Ike and Tina Turner played there when they first opened up. But it was one of those. It was like a mix between like a roadhouse and like an actual club. So they finally had to tear it down, and then it became a. Well, they didn't tear it down.
Too much fun.
It. Yeah, but it became a flashpoint of like local culture in the '90s because that same guy that owned it tried to reopen it as a gay club, and the city like kiboshed that because all the neighbors didn't want it. So it actually, this guy that ran like this scummy like just basically sex club.
Yeah,
became like a local like hero kind of for standing up for the LGBT community.
We cannot have that in the eyes of Egg Beater Jesus.
Right. Exactly.
Which is a church that looks like an egg beater on the front, and it's they call it Egg Beater Jesus.
It's the only art in town.
That's the only art.
Egg Beater Jesus. Yeah, but I love Huntsville.
Well, yeah, shout out to the folks in Rocket City, USA. Woo. That is a tour of Blake Hamilton's Huntsville, Alabama.
Also Nazis. We had a lot of Nazis.
Also Project Paperclip.
Saving that for part 2. Yeah.
Well, the Civic Center there is the Warner von Braun Civic Center, one of the main drags through town, Warner von Braun Boulevard.
Yeah. As Mort Saul said, if they could put a rocket in London, they could put a rocket on the moon. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think it was, I like it. The actual quote is, I aim for the stars, but sometimes I hit London.
I hit London.
Yeah, because they made a movie about Warner von Braun called I Aim for the Stars.